I have no history to recount as far as my connections to Dr. Jamal Barzinji is concerned. I came to know him much later in my life, and I knew him through his very innovative cognitive ideas about religion and the study of religion. He was among the rare Muslims who realized very quickly that there was a difference between the study of religion in academia and religion itself. He firmly believed that a map is not a territory. What the academia was doing about religion is a map, so that it can show orderly development of a tradition, how it grew, how it developed, how it influenced the civilization, the culture, education, everything else. Whereas real religion is the one in which you can see the territory. That means people who can participate and become part of it. After 9/11, from what I heard from Dr. Jamal Barzinji, there was a change of direction in the Muslim, non-Muslim relationships. It was a very important period. 9/11 brought home some of the very important considerations of not only academic study of religion, but also supporting academia by getting Muslims interested in teaching Islam. You know that in Jewish studies, in the academia, only Jews teach Judaism. There's never been a non-Jew teaching Judaism, because there's a pool of scholars who can go and teach Judaism in all areas, whether it is classical, modern, Talmudic period, Babylonian period. There are Jewish scholars of all different eras who can go and teach. In Islamic studies, we did not have that. We still don't have enough Muslim scholars of repute. Let's keep that in mind. Because if our works are not read by our colleagues and other academicians, then we are not doing our homework very well. Dr. Jamal was the one who insisted on the quality of the scholarship. He insisted on the discipline that was necessary in the development of what we call Islamic studies in the universities. His commitment was very different than many leaders that I spoke to in those days. And I was in contact with some of them, not all of them. I must be very honest that my connection with the community was not that close. Especially after 1998 and the fatwa of Ayatollah Sistani against me that I could not speak to any Muslim community, I was in the academia. I was more connected with teaching and writing. So I had no connection with the community in general. But what I think emerged after 9/11, that our ideas about pluralism, our ideas about democratic pluralism became all of a sudden important issues. How do we survive? How do we keep in relation with others? These academic books don't reach the communities. Communities need to be educated, and that's why Dr. Jamal's first question to me when I was interviewing for GMU position was that, how do you see your role in the community? Is your role only limited to the academia? Are you simply writing books for your colleagues, for your fellow academicians, or are you going to reach out the community? I made it very clear to Dr. Jamal for the first time that modern studies of religion are critical of religion, including Islam. We cannot go without criticizing Islam. Will you be willing to see that? He said, well, if the criticism is valid, we can tolerate it, as long as it is done in a good spirit of criticism and not just putting down other people's. So there was very interesting, I would say, understanding in the mind of Dr. Jamal, and this is what I'm missing today. Since his death, I feel that I have become very lonely, Because I could talk to him my language and he fully understood exactly what a scholar goes through in the academia. Because academia has its own hypocrisy. Whereas we do insist on certain areas to be objectively studied, we don't insist on all areas to be objectively studied. So we cannot speak about, Judaism in any negative way, but we can speak about Islam in any negative way. Any Baha'i, Christian, Jew can teach Islam. That's the role of academia. That's what we know as open doors of academia. Anybody can do. You cannot know Arabic enough and you can teach Islam. That's academia. But what was needed was, how do you encourage Muslim students to become equally reputable students? Because what the challenge was that, are you willing to look at the hadith critically? Are you willing to look at the exegesis critically? And Dr. Jamal was for it. It was refreshing to talk to him, to find that there was a Muslim thinker, an institute builder, who knows the academia quite well. How the academia is being challenged by modernity. And the challenge is not only to Islam, it's also to Catholicism, it's also to Christianity and Judaism. But we not being prepared for it, we get the beating much harder than anybody else does. There are good Jewish scholars who fight back. There are good Christian scholars who fight back what we call the modernity in academia. There aren't many Muslim students, Muslim scholars who can fight back saying that, no, that's not the Islam that you understand. This is the Islam and that's the evidence that I'm going to produce. In other words, there was one important issue for Dr. Jamal. How does a community and academic world connect with one another? Muslim community, as you all know, is anti-intellectual. You can't talk about any critical topics in the community. It's not allowed. Whether it is Adam Center or any other center, I can name them and I can tell you I've heard the khutbahs and they do not have the substance to awaken the spirituality. And myself and Dr. Jamal, we discussed many times, what does it mean to have spirituality? Spirituality, as Dr. Jamal understood correctly, is directly connected with morality. If you are spiritual, you are moral. If you are moral, you are spiritual. And this is generic enough to include any other human being for that matter. And that was the kind of a mind that they could. He did not like this hafla mentality of the Muslims. Bring this scholar and let him speak and let's clap for him. No. He told me very openly, I don't like people like Tariq Ramadan to be promoted by us. Because he doesn't serve our purposes. He serves his own political ends. This was Dr. Jamal. You remember Dr. Yaqub Mirza? We were discussing the whole issue. Who should we be promoting among ourselves? Up to now, it is hafla mentality. We promote only those who can draw the crowd. We don't promote those who can provide the substance. Critical substance that the community needs today. ISNA is empty of critical substance. ISNA is empty of spiritual awareness, spiritual awakening. Go around and see. I spent 4 days this time, full days. I was Ubay's, guest in there, IIT's guest, and I had only one presentation, so I went around looking at. Oh my goodness, what a poverty. We are poverty-stricken communities. We don't have enough to give to the people. What are we doing? Dr. Jamal's whole idea was integrity of human knowledge. That integrity is located in its application. If you can't apply what you know, then you only know it. You don't know what does it mean to be transformed by what you know. Cognitive is connected with transformation. And that transformation was realized by Dr. Jamal very carefully. We had several meetings in the office, private meetings, even before he decided that I should become the distinguished senior scholar at IIIT. Dr. Jamal had this vision in his mind that we need seriousness of academic pursuit in IIIT. We will not step down on our responsibility as academicians. Thank you very much.
Oh.